Is
7 o'clock. It's time for the Morning Watch with host Stokeley Marshall.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also check us out on Love 101 FM Facebook Live and YouTube Live in the main watch today. Barbados, a new republic, expectations of a new constitution. In the second watch, some doctors question the Prime Minister's COVID-19 virus claims. In our social media question, we ask, how have your thoughts on all things COVID-19 changed in the past year? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on in the program. But first, here's I quote.
This morning's I quote. It always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela.
Indeed, always seems impossible until it is done. Nelson Mandela. Shivani, how are you? I greet you.
Good, thanks. And you?
Shivani?
Yes, I'm good, thanks. And you? Are you hearing?
Excellent. Hearing you now loud and clear. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
Supporting you through COVID-19 is our top priority. JN Money is committed to protecting you and will continue to provide consistent and quality service during this global health crisis. To protect you, we have temporarily revised the opening hours of some JN Money agent locations. We encourage our customers to collect money safely and conveniently using their JN Money card. Visit jnmoneyonline.com or follow us on Instagram and Facebook for updates and information on COVID-19. With fast, safe, and convenient services, JN Money will help you find a way.
Watch and listen to win big this Christmas with any Digicel Prime bundle. Stream all the music you want on D Music. Binge Christmas movies in Play Go. Watch NBA games in Sportsmax, all while on the go, without using your any use data. Enter to win grand prizes of $500,000, a brand new Samsung TV with an entertainment system, or 1-year free service with a Samsung Note 20 Ultra. Buy a 7-day Prime bundle for $850 today. Digicel. Better together this Christmas. Visit digiceljamaica.com for terms and conditions. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion valid November 19, 2021 to January 13, 2022.
Hey my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. The least of a test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Really long life, our story. You hear?
remember, update your status in a real life. Do a HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Really long life, our story. Real long life was a youth coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Hello.
Hello?
Goodbye.
Goodbye? What are you doing?
I'm saying hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry.
Oh, I'd like to say that too.
Well, with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider, you can secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time and benefit from their investment portfolio too.
Wow. So it's hello peace of mind.
And goodbye worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider. For more information, contact 888-367-5433 or talk to one of our representatives. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Barbados is now the world's newest republic. And what does that mean for its people and the rest of the Caribbean, its neighbors? What will have to change or remain the same? Should anything change other than who the head of state is? What kind of republic does Barbados hope to be? And clearly we can't discuss everything today, but one of the things we would like to discuss is what could end up becoming part of its upcoming constitution. How will that constitution change, or how might it change? What should, if anything, change? What should remain the same? Who influences the decisions as to what is included or not included? And how long will the process take? We have online this morning to have a discussion in relation to all of this, Dr. Veronica Evelyn. She's a sociologist and the executive director of Family, Faith, Freedom in Barbados. Good day, Dr. Evelyn. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Well, shall I say congratulations? I don't know how you do it, but may I say congratulations on it's becoming a republic?
Well, of course, there are some good things about becoming a republic. It is good to be able to stand up and say we are a sovereign nation, but just saying it and just doing the things that structurally would point to that kind of sovereignty is one thing, but then translating it into real life is another. And sometimes I wonder if we are not just trading masters.
Well, a quick one there. You indicated that it's good to now be a sovereign nation, paraphrasing. Are you indicating that you didn't feel as if you were a sovereign nation before, or are you saying that you weren't a sovereign nation before? Because as far as we were all concerned, Barbados, as is Jamaica, are sovereign states.
It's a matter of semantics. We all say that we are sovereign nations. I doubt that we are. Yes, we first became independent, some of us in association with Britain, and then others fully independent. And now we are the fourth Caribbean territory that has decided, okay, we're going to break all ties. And there are lots of superficial changes. So, for example, our Royal Barbados Police Force is now the Barbados Police Service. When the very night that we became a republic, the Governor General at that time came in a car with the symbol of the British monarchy, but she left in a car with the Barbados coat of arms. So, you know, these kind of things, the externalities, but in terms of substance, what does it mean to be sovereign? And does that change to a republic, that transition to a parliamentary republic? Does it really embrace those changes? And will those changes, that sovereignty, be truly realized as we go forward and thereby hang the tail? I doubt it.
And you have chosen to remain in the British Commonwealth, I notice, yes?
I am not very sure. I think so.
Yes, yes. And
I have been following.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say the British Commonwealth, but in the Commonwealth of Nations, of which the Queen is the British monarch is considered to be the head, at least in figurative terms.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. However, in relation to faith, well, family, faith, freedom, of which you are the executive director, do you have any special concerns in relation to Barbados becoming a republic? Because, for example, the Barbadian constitution prior to this point, prior to becoming a republic, had words in it which reminded very strongly of a sort of Christian worldview, a Christian faith worldview, and you seem to have some concerns as to somewhat of a change in wording or change in language. What are some of those concerns? And some people might say, well, is it that big a deal, or is that big of an issue? But in your capacity in relation to your group, faith, family, faith, freedom, you have some strong concerns. What are those concerns?
Okay, let's begin with the fact that the Charter, Barbados Charter 2021, it was very rushed. Yes, there were public consultations. There were about 6 to 8 public consultations, online consultations. However, these were not very well attended. And I say that because I was at many of them myself. And then even when you check the Facebook and the YouTube, you realize, hey, not many persons were there. I think a total of maybe like 3,000 or so viewers up to the time that I checked. So the first thing is that the population was not generally very aware of the Charter and what was contained in the Charter. And I think this is because we, at the time, had a terrible spike in COVID cases. All the news was about COVID, and we were distracted. So that although the government did make it, quote unquote, available and accessible, it was not accessed by most of the population. The second thing is that we became a republic, and it is next year that we are going to be looking at the Constitution. Somehow, it seems to me that that's putting the cart before the horse. I think we should have had the Charter and looked at the Constitution and then become a republic maybe next year, November, having taken the time and paced ourselves through. So that's the big thing. But then when we look at the Charter itself, yeah?
Can I pause 1 second? Because you're referring to the Charter. Is this a non-binding Charter that you're referring to?
Yes, it is non-binding. However, that again, you wonder at. It is non-binding, but it is going to help to inform the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. And so we can expect that the spirit of the Charter will be reflected in the new Constitution. If it isn't, then what is the point of having a Charter in the first place? And when you look at that Charter, now let me tell you about the Charter. The Charter has 5 articles. The first article and the second article are the problematic ones for us at Family, Faith, Freedom, Barbados.
First article and the what?
And the second one. The first one talks, about our equality as citizens. And then the second speaks a lot about our interpersonal relationships. The third charter talks about civic engagement. The fourth talks about our responsibility towards the environment. And then the fifth article talks about our relations with the rest of the world and the region.
Okay, we're almost upon a break, Dr. Evelyn. We're almost upon a break already. We can't spend time looking at every single item. But you had a concern, I believe, I read something that you had put out. You had a concern about the use of the word creator instead of God at a certain limb of the non-binding charter. Why?
Yeah, this is where I was coming to, but I wanted your listeners to have an overview of the charter, because it is not as if the whole charter is terrible. It is not. The problem comes mainly with two things. One, in the preamble, it does not speaks specifically to the supremacy of God, which is something that is contained in the present constitution. It says that Barbados is a nation.
Hold that point, Dr. because we are already upon the break. We are already upon the Stay with us, listeners. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Between 2015 and 2020, there were 74,455 reports of child abuse in Jamaica. Report child abuse. Call 211.
The time brought to you by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency is
7:15.
What does Christmas mean to you? What about the joy and satisfaction you get in starting the home projects you've wanted to do all year? CIBC First Caribbean helps you make your Christmas wishes come true with easy and flexible financing on personal loans. Apply online and smile all the way this holiday season. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
When it comes to your Digicel data, if you love more, you're going to love this! This Christmas, get more data and more value for the same price with Digicel Postpaid Prime Bundles. Whether you're a Digicel Prime Start, Prime Core, or Prime Plus customer, you'll get 3 times more gigs. Plus, we're adding YouTube data as a bonus. So, for the love of more, visit Digicel Jamaica eStore and sign up or upgrade your Postpaid Prime Bundle and get more with Digicel this Christmas.
Just the season for boldness with Virgin.
Get 20% discount. A chance to win a grand prize of $200,000 in cash. Plus a share of $1 million in weekly cash and prizes. How to enter? Purchase any 2 gallons of eligible Virgin paints and receive an entry code. Visit www.virginpaints.mobi and enter the code along with your contact information. Promotion ends December 31st.
Just the season for boldness with Virgin.
Virgin for lasting beauty and protection.
Welcome to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley. So we are in the main watch, and the topic is Barbados, a new republic, expectations of a new constitution. And we have as our guest a Barbadian herself, Dr. Veronica Evelyn, sociologist and executive director of Family, Faith, Freedom, Barbados. And on an editorial note, I am seeing here, Dr. Evelyn, where it is indicated, certainly in the St. Lucia News online, that the Republic of Barbados will remain in the British Commonwealth. Any further clarification on that matter, we welcome it from you, Dr. Evelyn. But be that as it may, further to the point you're making, it indicate that the current Barbados Constitution states or refers to the supremacy of God, whereas you are concerned that in this charter, albeit non-binding, but you are of the view that it will inform how the next constitution will be worded. You are indicating that it doesn't make such a reference. Continue, Dr. Evelyn.
Exactly. So that in the preamble, it says, underscoring the fact that we are all equal by virtue of our humanity and in the eyes of the Creator. So the only reference to any supreme being is in the preamble where, flippantly we talk about being equal, first and foremost, by virtue of our humanity in the eyes of the Creator. Now, that bothers me. I'll tell you why. Because this is the version that was approved by Parliament, but the discussion draft said that we were equal in the eyes of the Creator. So up front, there was the Creator. But I guess because of feedback from some persons, humanists, this was changed. And I say that because in the appendix, in Appendix 2, there is a list of all of the submissions. And there were 2 submissions that talked about not having any reference to the Creator, but the fact that we are equal by virtue of our humanity. And obviously, it was taken into consideration and put in the final document. The other problem that we have is that terms are used without definition. So terms like gender and tolerance and inclusivity, all of this language that reeks of the new sexual rights movement, they're used without definition, and that is quite dangerous. So when they say gender, we don't know if they mean man and woman, which is the old traditional view of gender, or whether they're talking about the newfangled 60, 70, 80, 90 genders. The biggest thing, though, is that in Article 1, it says, all Barbadians are born free and are equal in human dignity and rights, regardless of age, race, ethnicity, faith, class, cultural and educational background, ability, sex, gender, or sexual orientation. And we object strenuously to those two terms, gender or sexual orientation. One, like I said, they are not defined, but two, there is no consensus across the world as to what sexual orientation really is. And if you're going to include sexual orientation, if you're going to include orientation as a category for non-discrimination, well then, why not say age orientation or race orientation? Why are we insisting on this controversial term? So that is really a huge problem for us. And then another problem is that the language, when you read the charter from beginning to end, it just reeks of humanistic philosophy. You know, we are going to create.
I was going to go on to ask you about that, Dr. Evelyn. Are you of the view that whereas the current Constitution of Barbados, the one which predates the Republic, whereas that Constitution is more in line with what you might regard as a biblical sort of worldview, Christian orientation, the current non-binding charter, albeit non-binding, makes you become concerned that as a republic, Barbados might be leaning more into a secular humanist type of worldview, ideology, whatever term you choose to use to describe it?
Yeah, well, you are very kind. I don't think it is an indication that we are leaning. We have had definite proof, definite evidence that that is where we are.
Okay.
In this charter, we see that kind of philosophy. We can make it, we can achieve all of this peace on the basis of just the fact that we are humans. But even so, when we look at the throne speech that was made by the Governor General in September last year, when she introduced the fact that the government had decided to acknowledge same-sex unions, civil unions, she prefaced it by saying that the world had spoken, the modern world had spoken. And so we see that that is exactly where we're going. Not only that, but earlier in the year, there was the passing of the Employment Prevention of Discrimination Act, which also contains the term sexual orientation. So it's not as if there are little indications of where we're going. There are huge red flags as to where we have gone and intend to continue going. That's as far as I see it.
And I know that, well, you indicated what the throne speech said in terms of where the world has gone, but I think I'm of the view that it is parts of the Western world, because much of the Eastern world is definitely not going in that direction, certainly not at this time. Do you have any other concerns, though, Dr. Evelyn? I beg your pardon, Dr. Evelyn.
I said precisely, because this is really a question where we're at now, poised between a humanist worldview, a secular worldview, and a theist worldview. It's really a divide between the money lenders and the money borrowers. It all boils down to an economic issue.
Okay.
That's all it is, because there of the 176 countries in the world, how many of them actually buy into this sexual rights movement, into this secular humanism? How many?
I understand.
When
And
you look
I want to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something to you quickly, though, Dr. Evelyn, because as the time is going. A comment was made in Barbados. I watched it actually, and the Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, she was responding to some very strong concerns of a parliamentarian there, and in her reply, she was very candid and clear that, in her view, certainly, Barbados is not going in a direction which is anti-God. In fact, she made reference to the fact that many persons sitting there were, in fact, persons of faith, or persons who attend church, certainly, or have their own faith, or, their own relevant faith. And she didn't seem to have an issue with the choice of words or the choice of language in relation to God in the non-binding charter. And she was also clear in pointing out that it is non-binding. Do you have any reaction to that, Dr. Evelyn?
Oh, wow. It depends on who this God is. Within Christendom and right in here in Barbados, we have persons who are part of the faith and who see things differently. As a matter of fact, one of the senators and a member of the advisory committee, who is the biggest spokesperson for the inclusion of the term sexual orientation, happens to be a reverend. I listened to the debate in the lower house, and there were Christians, persons of the Christian faith, who were speaking a different language from the kind of language that I would speak. So yes, there are problems, and the question is, who is this God that we are talking about? We seem to have different ideas, and we have a different reference point. Our reference point at Family Faith Freedom Barbados is the Bible, which we see as the infallible, the inerrant word of God that stands forever. That's our reference point.
And you have a petition out now, don't you? Can you tell us a little bit about that petition, Dr. Evelyn?
Oh, no, we are finished with that petition. That was asking about the charter not containing the words gender or sexual orientation. But of course, that's all over. The charter has been accepted in
the non-binding charter
Parliament, right? So that any other petition will be one to come about the Constitution. I can promise you that.
And of course, you're of the view that this non-binding charter, although non-binding, will actually inform what the Constitution eventually says. Well, more anon on that, Dr. Evelyn. Any final thoughts, and what is the next step, if any, for your organization? You're the executive director of Family Faith Freedom Barbados. Many Jamaicans have never heard of you, but they're certainly hearing of you now. What next, if anything? Any final words?
Yeah, we have to continue to be vigilant. We have to continue to educate the Barbadian public as to what humanism is, because we've just had a group of humanists who have come out and said, no monarch, no master, no God in the new republic. And they're saying, let's not teach religion in school, let's take God out of our law books, etc. So we have to continue to be vigilant. We have to lobby. We have to educate the public. There are several things that we must do all at the same time, but by the power and with the grace of God, and we will. Because we love our country and we care about the legacy that we leave for our children.
And I've seen you make reference to the fact that every square inch of Barbados belongs to God. I've seen that.
Yes. Yes, most definitely.
Social media. Yeah. Dr. Evelyn, I want to thank you for being with us today, and very interesting conversation. more anon on all matters concerned, the whole matter of the Commonwealth, the whole matter of where you go as a republic, the Constitution, etc. And thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Listen, stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is
7:30 on the Family Station, Love 101.
Pay your water bill. Keep the benefits flowing to wash your clothes and dishes. It's a small price for a big service. That was a message from the NWC.
We've got an early Christmas gift just for you. It's Marriage Models. Tune in this Thursday, December 9th to Heaven to Hold with host Colleen Beckles for a pre-anniversary edition of Marriage Models. Noel and Una Phillips, who are getting set to celebrate their golden wedding anniversary. That's 50 years as a man and wife. We're going to chat about their wedding back in 1971, their family, how they managed to stay married, and so much more. Happening this Thursday, December 9th at 5:30 p.m. on the Truly Marvelous Show to Heaven to Hold, to be heard right here in Love 101, the Family Station.
Watch and listen to win big this Christmas with any Digicel Prime bundle. Stream all the music you want on D Music. Binge Christmas movies in Play Go. Watch NBA games in Sportsmax, all while on the go, without using your any use data. Enter to win grand prizes of $500,000, a brand new Samsung TV with an entertainment system, or 1-year free service with a Samsung Note 20 Ultra. Buy a 7-day Prime bundle for $850 today. Digicel. Better together this Christmas. Visit digiceljamaica.com for terms and conditions. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion valid November 19, 2021 to January 13, 2022.
Forget ordinary. Now go compromise, oh nah, no way. I feel secure the best for my family. Me and my family, we go yummy. Go yummy. Go yummy. Best in value, best in place. Me and my family, we go yummy. Forget ordinary, go yummy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers, see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here, for example, in the Gleaner, one item of news here, St. James Councillor charged, suspended by JLP. Another one here, India's military chief and others, 12 others killed in helicopter crash. That's very sad news indeed. And we have now here, we turn now to the Observer. And in the Observer today, among the latest news, we have Elaine Thompson-Hera nominated for another World Sports Award. And we also have here among our news, again, another reference to the JLP Council calls for JLP Councillor Arthur Lynch to resign. More anon on those. And of course, many, many, many other news items in both major daily newspapers today. Of course, coming up next, we will be reading for you some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question, which is, how have your thoughts on all things COVID-19 changed in the past year? If you haven't done so yet, leave a comment on our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
This one's for you. Easy Cert, life certificate with Easy Cert. Easy Cert, life certificate with Easy Cert. Dropbox coming to your parish library. What did I send James? Coming to the others timely. Drop off your life certificate. Remember, mobile unit collect in December. AGD coming with Easy Cert. Fast, safe and easy. It really
Visit our
works.
website at www.treasury.gov.jm or give us a call at 876-922-8320. The Accountant General's Department, improving non-stop.
You're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your worth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Open up, it's at the time of the year. Float up and spread the Christmas cheer. To everybody, whether far or near. So I make a Christmas sparkle around here.
Get amazing gifts when you activate a 5-day or higher unlimited data plan or add your mobile to your home internet. Check your text messages and click the link to open up your gift. From LTE tablets, supermarket vouchers, smartwatches, TVs, and much more. Get a gift every time.
Christmas comes alive. Look for your gift, them must arrive. Open your women's and let's our mobile plans and a Christmas gift text drop in your hand. Christmas have a sparkle, you know? Make it happen with flow.
Conditions apply.
Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
25, 50, 75. Get a special Christmas advertising package on the family station Love 101 FM for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 plus GCT this Christmas. 25, 50, 75. 25, 50, 75. Call our sales department for this amazing deal. Christmas advertising packages for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000. Only on the family station Love 101 FM this Christmas. Don't miss your opportunity. Call our sales department 876-968-9596. That's 876-968-9596.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Of course, our feedback question is, how have your thoughts on all things COVID-19 changed in the past year? Not sure if we have any comments just yet. Anything came in so far, Shivani?
All right, Cherry says the positive of COVID is to help a lot of us think more out of the box, be more creative, don't take things or anyone for granted, and be more aware of our surroundings. Yeah.
Interesting indeed, interesting indeed. Well, we have here on October the 7th, 2021, while on tour of vaccination blitz sites in North Central Clarendon, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, made a statement which a group of 12 doctors are calling inaccurate. What was that statement and why is it said to be inaccurate? How can this inaccuracy impact the society? And two of the doctors are here this morning to explain all that and more. We have Dr. Wayne West. He is a consultant radiologist, and we also have Dr. Michael Abrahams, an obstetrician and gynecologist, and might I add, actor, well-known actor here in Jamaica. Dr. Wayne West, Dr. Michael Abrahams, good morning. How are you both?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Mike. Hey, Wayne. Morning, Wayne. Morning, Stokeley. Thanks for having us.
Great having you both, Dr. Abrahams and Dr. Wayne West. Might I read a little bit of the article? In fact, the article that I'm making reference to was published in the Old Harbour News, and this appears to be an online version of the newspaper. The title is Jamaican Doctors Debunk Prime Minister's Claim on COVID-19 Virus, and it reads, I won't read all of it. A number of Jamaican doctors have sent a letter to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, pointing out factual inaccuracies in a statement which the Prime Minister made during his October 7th, 2021 tour of vaccination blitz sites in North Central Clarendon. And the statement made by the Prime Minister is quoted here as, well, he's quoted here as thus: those who don't take the vaccine remain the host population for the reproduction and mutation of the virus, unquote. And the 12 doctors who took issue with that statement, we have here Dr. Wayne West, Dr. Doreen Brady West, Dr. Kay Bailey, Dr. Cherie Simpson, Dr. Daniel Thomas, Dr. Brittany Clark, Dr. Andre Williams, Dr. Arthur Malcolm, Dr. Michael Abrahams, Dr. Jennifer Mamby Alexander, Dr. Arlene Rose, and Dr. Kelly Lloyd Gooden Morgan. I have, in fact, heard of this Old Harbour News publication for quite some time in print form, and I'm now seeing they appear to be online. It's a community-based online news media outlet based in Jamaica with more than 300,000 unique visitors since 2013. Starting with Dr. Wayne West, what is considered to be factually inaccurate by you and the other persons in the group about the statement. Those who don't take the vaccine remain the host population for the reproduction and mutation virus.
Let me just say, first of all, that the same press release was sent to the Gleaner, and the Star published it as Dr. Wayne West last the Prime Minister. And I just want to say that is, of course, sensationalism. The other doctors were not really recognized and weren't recognized for what it is. Okay, what's wrong with this statement? It's inaccurate because mutations, in other words, new forms of the virus, develop whenever viruses are multiplying. And viruses don't only multiply in unvaccinated people, they multiply in anyone who has an infection. And the fact of the matter is that both vaccinated and unvaccinated persons do become infected with SARS-CoV-2, that is, they develop COVID-19. And once you are infected and the virus is reproducing in you, you are able to produce, well, mutations of the virus are able to develop. So the statement is fundamentally inaccurate from a medical and virology point of view.
I see. Dr. Michael Abrams, any comments? Dr. Abrams?
I totally agree with that. I think we should be honest, and sometimes in the zeal to get everyone vaccinated, and I do understand that zeal because COVID-19 is real. People who are vaccinated have a lower risk of becoming very ill or dying. That's true. But it's also inaccurate to say that they're the reservoir for this, because this issue has become very divisive, and there's been a lot of stigmatization and marginalization of persons who are unvaccinated. And we have to have really honest discussions about this, because if you look at the statistics, for example, data, Gibraltar is more than 100% vaccinated. That sounds weird, but let me explain. All the adults in Gibraltar are vaccinated, and even foreigners, the foreign adults who are over there are vaccinated as well. So it's a fully vaccinated country regarding the adults. But they're still having issues in Gibraltar. They actually announced that they have to curtail Christmas activities. So if you have a fully vaccinated country and this is happening, it would be disingenuous to say, well, the unvaccinated people are really causing all of this.
Yeah. And even in relation to the Omicron variant, I think I pronounced that correctly, persons who would likely have been transmitting that virus from another country arguably would have had to be vaccinated to have traveled, depending on the relevant travel restrictions. And a concern I have certainly heard mentioned by other persons is if you could be vaccinated and spreading Omicron, then it doesn't really matter your vaccination status, because it in fact confirms that even those who are vaccinated against COVID-19 can in fact spread the virus. Any comments from you, Dr. Michael Abrams, on what I just said in light of what you just said about spreading, not declining vaccination status?
That's true. Out of all the patients I know and the people I know who've had COVID, I would say at least a third of them had been fully vaccinated. So being fully vaccinated, as I said before, it reduces your risk of severe illness, hospitalization, and death. But the vaccines are not very effective in preventing you from actually getting COVID. And that's a fact. I think we need to be honest about that.
Okay, Dr. West.
Yes.
Dr. Abrams made a very interesting comment about stigmatization of persons who are not vaccinated against COVID-19. Is that part of the reason why you may have put out this letter to the Prime Minister? And by the way, has there been any reply to the letter to the Prime Minister and, of course, to Dr. Christopher Tupton?
If you give me the opportunity, I just want to repeat what Michael said. Vaccination is a difficult issue. It's not as straightforward as, say, vaccination for mumps and smallpox in the past, because these vaccines are not as effective. But we must bear in mind that we are in a storm, and any port in a storm, as long as that port doesn't cause more harm than the storm itself. And the fact is, vaccinations do decrease the severity of illness and death. And so I know I have reservations about what I call the gene-based vaccine. But vaccination is something that has helped human beings for decades. These vaccines are not as good, and they probably have more adverse effects than other vaccines. You see, the problem is we are not having an honest discussion. But if you look at the data, they really do decrease the severity of the disease and the deaths that occur with the disease.
Hold that. Doctor, hold that.
I think it's important to make that point in the context of the vaccine hesitancy we are having.
Dr. West, we're now upon a break. There's a little bit of a lag because you're on the phone and I am on live stream. But we're now upon a break. Listeners, stay with us. We'll be right back in the morning.
You're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your worth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
There are a million reasons to want to own a home.
I want more space for the children.
I am tired of paying rent.
My wife and I want an investment.
Go from future plans to keys in hand with an NCB mortgage. Get rates as low as 6.95%, 100% financing, and up to 40 years to repay. Plus, get the life insurance and home insurance you need all in one place. Visit myhome.jncb.com to get started. Conditions apply. When it comes to your Digicel data, if you love more, you're going to love this! This Christmas, get more data and more value for the same price with Digicel Postpaid Prime Bundles. Whether you're a Digicel Prime Start, Prime Core, or Prime Plus customer, you'll get 3 times more gigs. Plus, we're adding YouTube data as a bonus. So, for the love of more, visit Digicel Jamaica eStore and sign up or upgrade your Postpaid Prime Bundle and get more with Digicel this Christmas.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Between 2015 and 2020, there were 74,455 reports of child abuse in Jamaica. January to June 2021, 1,203 reports of sexual abuse, 1,465 reports of physical abuse, 2,528 reports of neglect. Report child abuse. Call 211.
Hello, I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and we're looking at the whole matter of some doctors question the Prime Minister's COVID-19 virus claims, and our guests are Dr. Wayne West, a consultant radiologist, and Dr. Michael Abrahams, an obstetrician and gynecologist, and of course, many of us here in Jamaica as an actor as well, maybe in his not so busy time when when he has time to do that, when he's not attending to patients. Dr. West, before the break, you were making some very interesting points, and unfortunately, maybe some listeners will hear some of them towards the tail end. Feel free to repeat them if you so wish. But before you go any further, I want to ask you about something you that is mentioned in the article, sir. In the article, you made mention. Well, it's mentioned in the article. For these reasons, 2 key reasons, the doctors stated that it would be illogical to institute mandatory vaccination based on this inaccurate assertion, assuming the assertion of the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Now, sir, the government of Jamaica has made it pretty clear that it's not looking at mandatory vaccination, well, at least not at this time. So just trying to understand why that would have been said. Is it that you really said it would be logical to institute mandatory vaccination based on this inaccurate assertion, or is it that the person who was the editor of this, this piece might have written that? But is it something that you actually said, or your group actually said?
No, we actually said that if you're going to make mandates based on that assumption, it's illogical, and that is a fact. If the government is not proceeding to make mandates, well, then fine. But we know the talk has been in the air. I just wanted to repeat the consideration that I have problems with the gene-based vaccines, which we can discuss at some other time. But the fact of the matter is that people must be aware we are in a storm, and any port in a storm. And one of the ports in the storm could be vaccination. Once you have...
When you say gene-based vaccines, Dr. West, for the benefit of the listeners, don't leave it hanging in the air. What do you mean?
I mean things like Pfizer, AstraZeneca. These are the vaccines that turn your body into basically a manufacturing plant for the spike protein of the SARS-CoV-2. It is a brand new type of vaccination, a technology that has not been used vaccination before. The other vaccines like this Sinopharm, Covaxin, which come out of India, and I think the one that the Cubans produce, is a type of vaccine that we used in the past, where you would use either a killed version of the virus or some live attenuated but weakened version of the virus or part of the virus itself. So the new technology is doing something for which we have no pharmacological data. We have no data as to where it goes in the body, what it does, how long it stays there, what harm it can produce. We just have no real data on that at all. Those are the gene-based vaccines like AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna.
Now, in relation to can you repeat the names again of the vaccines that you claim are gene-based, or that you say are gene-based?
AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna. Those are gene-based vaccines.
Those three. And you're making a distinction.
That's also gene-based, but I don't think we have that here.
Okay, and you're making a distinction between those and the ones which are non-gene-based.
That's right. Vaccines that use a traditional method to make vaccines, and that would be things like the Sinopharm vaccine, one of the, I think it's called CoronaVac, which we just recently brought into the island. The Indians have one called Covaxin. I think there is one, the Cuban vaccines are also traditional vaccines. They use a traditional technology. And I think there's one also called Novavax, which is supposed to be being developed at the moment.
No, I didn't really know you were going to go in this direction this morning, Dr. West, because, well, put it this way. Let me ask the question from you're both doctors. Let me ask the question to you as doctors. Is there I hope I'm using the medical terms correctly. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is there an isolated and purified version of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, coronavirus, which leads to COVID-19 if you contract it? Does that exist? There's a reason why I'm asking. Dr. West?
I've heard all sorts of things about that, but I gather that one of the Chinese vaccines is in fact an attenuated version of it. So I presume it must exist, although I've heard controversies about that.
Okay, I asked because from a legal perspective, I'm an attorney at law. I have been made to understand that there have been a number of access to information requests globally in various countries, I should say in various countries. A few of them come to mind right now. And every time the question is asked under the relevant access to information laws in those countries, no response comes back, or it's negative, or it might be an outright no. So as I thought, I'd ask that question. So you're saying that in the non-gene based traditional vaccines, they actually use a form of the virus to inject it into the person, and that helps to ward off the person contracting the virus going forward. Is that what it means, Dr. West?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, more on all of this. Dr. Abrams, any comments?
Just to reiterate what Wayne said, the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, the technology is a bit different. Okay. And it's interesting to note, like sometimes when I say this, colleagues will say it's not new. because the technology behind them is not new. People need to know that. We've been looking at the technology for a very, very long time. It's not new technology, but this is the first time it's being used in vaccines that are being distributed to billions of people.
I see.
In terms of, for example, the Pfizer vaccine, it is a relatively new vaccine because last year, summer, there was no Pfizer vaccine. So when something is relatively new, you're not going to have any long-term safety data because you really don't know.
I see. So is it that if I could quickly ask this question, because we never enough time on the morning watch. Some persons have argued that the vaccines that are being used a lot now, and it would appear that these are the gene-based vaccines, based on what Dr. West said. Some people are of the view that they put them out too quickly. Vaccines normally take about 10 years to develop, or even longer, maybe shorter, but generally speaking, around 10 years or so. But these came out within under a year. And some are arguing, well, why? We have no long-term safety data on it yet. So that's what's causing some people to be concerned about taking them. Any comments on that, Dr. Abrahams? Because it is being indicated by both of you that the long-term safety data is absent because it can't exist because they just came up with these vaccines recently. And also, there are those cases where people have suffered adverse reactions and they're concerned about that. Dr. Abrahams?
Yeah, let me tell you, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because if you have a pandemic with a virus that's killing people, you need a vaccine to come out relatively quickly. And if the drug companies don't produce them, we'll be asking what's taking you so long. But then when they do it, people ask, how come it came out so quickly? So, I understand there is pressure to produce these things. With modern technology, it's reasonable to understand that it's going to take a shorter time than before to produce them. The question really is, or the concern is the long-term safety data, because we don't have any because they haven't been around long enough. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't take them. I am fully vaccinated, by the way. I was eligible to be vaccinated on March 10th. I went to St. George's on March 11th for my first shot. I am fully vaccinated. I encourage it. But we must also be honest and tell people, listen, when people ask about long-term safety, say, listen, we can't answer that right now because you really don't know. And you make a risk-benefit decision. So, for example, most people dying from COVID in Jamaica now and globally are over 60. Many of them have comorbidities such as being overweight, hypertensive, or diabetic. So if someone comes to you and they're 60 years old and they're overweight and hypertensive, you have a discussion and say, listen, you are at risk because if you get COVID with excess body fat and hypertension, your risk of being sick is very high. And this would be in your best interest. And these are the conversations we need to have rather than just telling people, take the vaccine and don't worry. For example, it's well documented that some women, after being vaccinated, have menstrual cycle disturbances. It's documented, and we know this. So when a woman says, I am concerned because I'm in my late 30s, I've had fertility issues, I want to have a child, and I don't know the long-term effects of this, we need to have rational and reasonable discussions and not just tell people, put the vaccine and don't worry about it.
I understand.
Let me just say, I totally agree with what Michael is saying. The challenge we have had with respect to vaccination is honest discussion. We just have not had honest discussion so people could weigh the risk. When you hear medications being advertised on the television for diabetes or anything, they include this can cause death and so on and so forth. You're not allowed to discuss what the issues are around these vaccines. If you do, you become an anti-vaxxer and all sorts of things. So the problem we really have been having about the vaccinations and so on is this commitment to suppress discussion, to impose it on us, and then to do as if it is actually as good as the smallpox or the other vaccines that we are accustomed to. It's not. We just need honest discussion. People who risk benefits, and I would say, I want to repeat that although again I have concerns about the gene-based vaccine because we really don't know about the pharmacology, there are other vaccines that are available, and vaccines do decrease death and severe disease. That's a fact.
Gentlemen, we are totally out of time. I would probably invite both of you or your group of 12 to maybe have some sort of conference on this, or whether online or virtual, because persons have questions, and you did indicate that there needs to be more conversation on the matter. Gentlemen, thank you for your time and for your thoughts, more anon. And thank you, listeners, for being with us. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. This is the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to us, the family station, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica, Love 101 FM. And this has been the Morning Watch. Have a blessed weekend. And of course, join Reverend Dr. Dallin Toussaint next week, Tuesday, for more topical and controversial issues to be discussed. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marsh, and handing you back to Love in the Morning with Siobhan Blair.